Osumanu come up the platform.
You've been kept down for much too long. Stand up, please, and say I am free. Don't forget you are welcome home, welcome home.
Thank you, IMS. Please let's remain standing for the UB's anthem.
Come with me.
The UB's anthem. We have the lyrics on the back page of the brochure. Page 11. IMS, give us the UB's anthem. warm welcome to the Hall 3 of the SD Dombo University of Business and Integrated Development Studies, the gem of the Upper West. Ladies and gentlemen, today marks a new dawn in UBITS as we gather for the maiden inaugural lecture of one of our distinguished academics who has attained the rank of a full professor, Professor Issaka Kanton Osumanu. The topic for this historic inaugural lecture is Geography, Environment, and Sustainable Development, exploring a disciplinary and conceptual trinity for human well-being. Ladies and gentlemen, inaugural lectures are a significant part of the lives of academics as they offer a rare opportunity for newly appointed professors to showcase their research and academic accomplishments to their colleagues and the wider community. I am Millicent Akataba, your MC for this event, and at this moment, it is my pleasure, it is my honor to invite the registrar of this university, Mr. Job Asante, to give the welcome address and introduce the chairperson for this event. Mr. Registrar.
Thank you, MC. You are all welcome to this event. As the MC said, this is a historic event, but this is our maiden inaugural lecture since this university was established. I will introduce the Professor Freduku Osei. Prof, we are ready to listen to you and also to direct affairs of this event. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, the registrar. Good afternoon,
Geography and Environment subdisciplines, which allows him to explore sustainability issues in the context of human interactions with the natural environment. His research, resulting in several publications in nationally and internationally reputable journals such as Land Use Policy, Local Environment, SN Social Science, Community Development Journal, Ghana Journal of Development Studies, Tourism, Planning and Development, Environment, Development, Progress in Development Studies, Journal of Tourism and Cultural Change, Spatial Information Research, Ghana Journal of Geography, Helion, Journal of Environment and Public Health, Urban Forum, Environmental Management, Danish Journal of Geography, and Journal of Planning and Land Management have covered the urban land use change, environmental health, water supply sustainability, natural resource management, and urban environmental governance. His books and book chapters have been published by Routledge, Taylor and Francis, Beghan Books, Springer International Publishing, Nova Science Publishers, and Wally Publishing Services. His recently, as far as 2022, co-authored or co-edited book on environment and resource management in Ghana was published by Wally Publishing Services. Professor Osumanu has acquired extensive multicultural experience through various professional engagements in several countries in Africa, Europe, and North America. These engagements include giving competitive and invited talks, serving as external assessor, and engaging with research and professional collaborations. He has been an external examiner for a number of universities, including University of Ghana, University of Cape Coast, and Stockholm Water Institute, Sweden. Professor Osumanu is currently Dean of the Faculty of Social Sciences and Arts at the Simon Diodon Dombo University of Business and Integrated Development Studies, our own university, while here. He previously served as head of Department of Environment and Resource Studies from 2009 to 2016, and graduate programs coordinator of the Faculty of Integrated Development Studies from 2016 to 2020. He has participated in the governance of the University for Development Studies and for the Simon Diodon Dombo University of Business and Integrated Development Studies through his service on several statutory and ad hoc boards and committees. These include a member of the UDS Governing Council from 2010 to 2015 and his current membership of the Executive Committee of the UBITS, our own university, and academic boards. He has also served on the board of the UDS School of Graduate Studies from 2012 to 2019. He's a member of Senior Members Appointments and Promotions Committee, and Chairman of the Faculty of Social Science and Arts Board. In addition to this, his teaching responsibilities at SD Dombo University, Professor Issaka Kanton has done quite significantly in terms of student supervision. He has supervised 75 undergraduate students, 59 master's students, and 4 PhD students for their long essays and theses. He is currently supervising 5 PhD students and co-supervising two others. His passion for mentoring particularly young professional academics has driven him to organize and also facilitate several capacity building training programs in both the public and private higher education sectors, as well as in other public and private organizations. He has been a consultant trainer for the International Institute for Environment and Development, which is based in London, International Water Management Institute, which is based in Sweden, and GTZ, the German Development Agency. GIZ, that's the name. Professor Osumanu is currently the chairman of the Parent Teacher Association of St. Louis Roton Secondary School, and a former member of the Governing Council of Tumu College of Education, Tumu. Professor Osumanu is a member of several professional associations, including the Association of South African Geographers, Ghana Geographers Association, Association of Professional Educators USA, Authors Licensing and Collecting Society, Fulbright Scholars Association, Ghana Writers Association, and Danida Alumni Network. He is a pioneer fellow, senior scholar, and chair of the steering committee of the African Humanities Program of the American Council of Learned Societies. He is also a lifetime full member of the International Society for Development and Sustainability. Professor Osumanu is married to Josephine Wellbeing Nelson, and the couple have been blessed with 3 lovely children, Florine, Kezia, and Favor. So in spite of all the research, Professor Kanton has found time to also be a family man. And this is a great story. We thank you very much for listening. Thank you.
Thank you, Prof. BC. I think with this we can give him a hand of applause, a resounding one. A very elaborate profile, distinguished scholar. Prof. Kanton will now prepare for his lecture, but to enable our platform party also have a feel of what is going to happen, I'll plead with you to step down and take these seats so that he can prepare his lecture. So kindly step down for us.
Good afternoon to all of you present here. Vice Chancellor, Pro-Vice Chancellor, Registrar, Director of Finance, Deans and Directors present, Heads of Department and Units, colleague professors, invited guests, the media, ladies and gentlemen. I have the pleasure of presenting to you this afternoon my inaugural address, which is on geography, environment, and sustainable development, exploring a disciplinary and conceptual trinity for human well-being. When some colleagues saw the title, they said, what is the Trinity about? The Trinity has been hijacked by the church, but we also still hold on to it. Chairman, the history of geography is a body of ideas that has helped human beings to understand their environment. And since its inception, geographers have always sought to have more logical and useful knowledge about the environment and how they interact with that environment. And in the pursuit of this, several geographers have propounded theories and propositions, some of which have tended out to be erroneous, but there are some that dates as back as the 400 BC, which are still very relevant in our disciplinary discourse. And in my view, one such proposition is the one given by the classical Greek geographer Plato, who believed that the world was created in a state of perfection, but now degenerating into a state of imperfection. And he used Attica in Greece to demonstrate this observation. And I must say that this observation made by Plato is even more relevant today than when he made this somewhere between 428 to 348 BC. According to him, there were once forests on the mountains of Attica that provided feed for animals and made their inhabitants also comfortable. So I took this quotation from Plato's writing, that he said, now the forest has disappeared, so when it rains, the water is lost because it runs off in the form of flood, and it is not used for the intended purposes. So the environment has been degenerated to the extent that now what remains compared with what existed is like the skeleton of a sick man. All the fat and soft earth have been wasted away, and only the bare framework of the land is left. This, in my opinion, is more relevant today than the time Plato made these statements. And I will not hesitate to say that Plato then was thinking about sustainable development, because the concept sustainable development is entirely centered on environmental issues. But now we have several different discourses concerning the concept of sustainable development, some of which I will highlight in the course of this address. I was motivated to choose this academic and conceptual theme for this address because for the over 20 years of my teaching and research experience, I have come to realize that majority of our students and researchers, especially in the social sciences, are completely ignorant about the philosophy of geography. It started as an environmental and resource management department. So when I entered the lecture hall, a course on environment, then I started speaking geography. The students would turn and look at each other. What is this man talking about? So I had to take my time, mostly the first lecture, to draw the relationship between geography and environment for the understanding of my students. We still have a lot to do in explaining the link between geography and environmental science to many of our students and colleagues. And this responsibility we shared with environmental scientists. The disagreement largely is due to the case that geographers largely consider environmental problems as human. In other words, whatever happens within the environment is a human creation. But environmental scientists also insist that natural explanations provide better reasoning than the human explanation. So in this address, my aim is to explore some central disciplinary and conceptual issues involved in the thinking within geography, and I will adopt a viewpoint which considers geography with a particular emphasis on its fundamental concepts and practices. I also intend to reflect on some strategies that are available to individuals and communities towards taking the steps to sustainable development. Chairman, I would like to say that geography has gone through a series of practices, while largely it has been practiced as an environmental science. Geography, since the beginning, has been conceptualized as a kind of an environmental science. That is, a discipline engaged in locating, exploring, describing, and analyzing the environs and contexts of places occupied by different societies on the Earth's surface. These ideas are largely attributed to the French geographer von Humboldt, whose concern was with the systematic analysis of the processes involved in the general world patterns of the Earth's environment in terms of important physical elements. There were others in the tradition of Karl Ritter, the German geographer, who devoted their energies to detailed description and analysis of particular parts of the Earth's surface, as divided into segments of continents, countries, and towns and cities. The tradition of Humboldt suffered an eclipse following the rise of separate systematic disciplines, each devoted to the study of particular group of elements of the overall environment. In other words, this became known as the systematic geography at the time. So the regional tradition continued, but in terms of the regional perspective of Ritter and the French geographer Vidal de la Plage, as well as the short-lived Landschaffen perspective that treated geography as a systematic science of areas. In the middle of the 19th century, geography was faced with a great crisis of identity regarding its status between the natural sciences and humanities, as a series of new systematic sciences appropriated aspects of physical environment that previously lay under the domain of geography. In fact, this crisis was so severe that around 1945, Harvard University closed down its geography department and sacked all the geography professors because they thought they were irrelevant at that time. And perhaps we are faced with such crisis again, as many have cautioned some disciplines that we undertake in the universities. As to whether they are relevant, I will not answer that question here. So then, the one-time mother of sciences was impoverished and dethroned. As a way of getting out of the crisis, two alternatives and competing paradigms of geography were advanced. One was the social Darwinist concept that emphasized geography as the study of humans' relationship to the environment. The so-called man-land tradition that was pioneered by Russell's anthropogeography. The other was initiated by Richard Finn, famous inaugural address of 1883. That concept saw geography as the study of the Earth's surface in terms of area differentiation and was essentially chronological and non-environmentalistic in perspective. For a long time, Russell's social Darwinist concept of geography as the study of the relationship between humans and the environment had held sway, whether it was with an emphasis on the role of human choice or influences and controls exerted by nature on the course of development of human societies. With a view to clarify these positions, Burroughs had presented an alternative approach of geography as human ecology. In this, he advocated the study of human societies in relation to their environment, and he laid emphasis on environmental adaptation rather than environmental control. But in all these three variations, the human-environment relationships approach, that is, the possibilistic and the deterministic approaches, retain faith in the philosophy of causality and had invariably involved some kind of cause and effect analysis that demanded from students more than superficial interest in the dynamics of the environment. Therefore, throughout that period, geography maintained its status as an environmental science. In the early decades of the 20th century, as the possibilistic philosophy of science caught the imagination of geographers, causality, causal mechanism, and cause and effect analysis became discredited. This disenchantment with the philosophy of causality had led to great popularity of alternative concepts of geography as chorology. Thus, in his famous essay on the morphology of landscape, Carl Sauer spoke of geography as a science that finds its entire field in the landscape. And he went on to strongly plead the case for establishing geography as a positive science. In reacting to Sauer's comment, Harshon described geography as a naive science, which viewed things as they are actually arranged and related, in the sense that geography was merely about describing features and not concerned with giving reasons for that arrangement. Under these conditions, although geographers continue to pay lip sympathy to geographical concerns with earth environment, the geographers' interest in the study of environment had declined so much so that geography ceased to be a useful environmental science. The Schaeffer-Harshon dispute and the emergence of a new geography in the 1950s hardly meant any change in that regard. The two emphasized the geometry of the landscape and both excluded any conception of process from geographic inquiry. It is difficult to see how Harshon's simple correlations contrast with Schaeffer's morphological laws, since both can be reduced to spatial patterns. In principle, therefore, their disagreement was about ends and not means. The situation pertaining to geographers' concern with the environment changed for the West when, in subsequent years, spatial theory, psychology, and quantitative methods were combined into what was described as new geography. However, by the mid-1960s, the pot had started boiling, and controversies started stirring once more. These were fueled by the Vietnam War and the related development in the United States of America, which had created a general disenchantment with the ivory tower of character of the social sciences disciplines. And by the close of the decade, the well-being of humanity had materialized as the main concern of the social science disciplines. In geography, this became reflected in an increasing focus on contemporary societal problems, significance of research, and participation in public policy formulation. Issues of equity and social justice began augmenting those of economic efficacy hitherto used in making decisions on spatial organization of human society. This widely shared feeling led to shifts in the objects of study in geography to poverty and inequity. Many now felt that to achieve the goal of a more socially relevant geography, geographers will have to rebuild their discipline based on the centrality of human-environment interactions with a new brand of physical geography that leans heavily on biological ideas and sources. Towards the end of the 1960s, the American public was overwhelmed with declarations of an impending environmental crisis, so that by the mid-1970s, there was a definite move towards a more sophisticated and deliberate search for environmental understanding, thus leading to a stage where ecology has been institutionalized. But despite this increased interest, the geographical contribution to the study of environment or to environmentalism has remained meager. This observation that was made some 46 years ago is still largely true, though there is a definite stir so that even we in sub-Saharan Africa today have become concerned about these approaches. Works on human-environment relationships that initially came to light as a result of these heightened concerns for the environment were of two types. The first, which was in the traditional mode, was concerned with geographical description and analysis. The second type focused more precisely on issues of environmental management, with particular emphasis on economic aspects. Since the 1970s, the emphasis has changed to ecology, ecosystem, and preservation of the environment, with a view to maintain healthy ecological balance. Other important concerns are air pollution and general environmental degradation because of indiscriminate exploration of resources. Now, pedagogues have called for the need for geography to reframe its curricula to meet the new challenge of environmental education. So I must say that since then, geographers have turned more attention to treating geography as the study of environmental quality and human well-being. Early in the 1970s, geography has started moving away from its excessive preoccupation with surface manifestations of reality to a more concentrated focus on understanding human reality behind spatial forms. Thus, geography had accepted a behavioral viewpoint in the analysis of human activities and their impacts. The adoption of a behavioral viewpoint in geography presented a definite move toward process geography, so that explanations in geography started to include consideration of the thought processes involved in their creations. This humanism in geography charted a major shift in humanity's undue concern for narrow economic measures of development and progress to the broader aspects of human condition. Also, it was an opposition to the spatial science perspective of geography in the 1950s and 60s, which had contributed to suppress the essential prejudice of humanity, or our roles as agents of environmental change, and our character as a thinking people with hearts, minds of our own. As time passed, geography evolved progressively into a conspicuously human-centered discipline, a people geography about real people and for the people. The behavioral humanistic perspective has contributed to shift the central focus of the discipline from the study of spatial organization of society to the social organization of space. Such a change perception of the nature of geography has inevitably led to increased concern for the human condition, for quality of life, social inequalities, distributive justice, and an informed concern for the quality of the environment. The discipline has become more progressively oriented towards issues concerned with human welfare, such as poverty, hunger, crime, and discrimination in access to social services. The primary focus of the welfare-oriented geography today is on who gets what, where, and how. The initial hesitation in the form of controversy about description versus analysis and liberal versus radical approaches in the study of welfare have now, over time, given way to one, general consensus that contemporary geography is concerned with the study of human condition, and two, creating an informed awareness about the quality of environment with a view to ensuring a better future for the coming generations. In this process, geography has come to occupy an emphatically holistic social science perspective. It is important at this point to pause on move away from the talk about geographical developments and look at the concept sustainable development. The concept was first defined by the Brundtland's Commission as development that meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. This definition has ushered in to service the lack of agreement about a process which almost everybody thinks is necessary. But how do we achieve that necessity? Generally, the idea is understood from three perspectives: economic growth, social equity, and environmental stability. The combination of these perspectives help constitute the idea of sustainable development. Despite its increased significance, the idea of sustainable development means different things to different people and organizations. The Commission's definition attempted to theorize the term and link the issues of environmental stability and economic growth. However ambiguous, the concept aims primarily to ensure both economic progress and environmental stability. It provides a framework to integrate developmental policies and environmental strategies into each other. Beyond that, the United Nations General Assembly adopted the 17 Sustainable Development Goals, which is supposed to be attained by 2020 in September 2015. These goals provided the agenda on many important factors among climate change, poverty, inclusive development, and natural resources. And I say that sustainable development has been a contested concept. The widespread support for sustainable development and the shift in relationships between the environment and human well-being have attracted great interest among geographers and other development thinking professionals. This is largely in opposition to the dominant group, the North. The North is not Ghana's North, but the North as we understand in academia, that has focused on the separation of socio-economic issues from the environment as realists do. For most of the last 2 centuries, the environment was ignored in development discourse, mostly to be exploited, such as was done with natural resources in the global south by the north. Environmental issues were primarily seen as local, and the relationship between the environment and human well-being was seen as humanity's triumph over nature. According to this view, which is called the Promethean view, humans can overcome all issues, whether environmental or socio-economic, through human knowledge and technology. This thinking caught prominence with the emergence of capitalism, the Industrial Revolution, and the development of science and technology. In the words of Bacon, the world is made for man, not man for the world, meaning that man does not owe anything to the world, and that nature is meant to serve humanity, implying that we use the environment anyhow as we please. Concerns over the environment among the business class and political elites focus on the management of natural resources. In other words, how to make money from natural resources. Their main concern was to manage the natural resources rather than their exploitation, so that those resources could be used for the longest duration possible. The idea of sustainable development came about with the increased awareness of linkages between the environment, socioeconomic development, poverty, and concerns for future generations. The Brundtland Commission's definition emphasized the importance of the environment and human dependency on it to meet the needs of humanity and their social well-being. This is a direct opposition to the Promethean view, in that human lives, society, and economic activities are directly linked with the stability of the environment rather than human dominance of it. The Commission's report stressed that humans and their basic existence depend on the environment, whether in a rural region or an urban area. Both economic and social well-being need the environment to survive. The report also emphasized the global nature of the issue, since the issues are not local but global. Their solutions and policies and human actions must also be global. Chairman, I will attempt to answer this critical question. If we all agree that sustainable development is a necessity, then what is to be sustained? For those of us whose principal interest is in ecological stability and human well-being, it is the environment and natural resource base which must be sustained. However, a key question that often arises is, how can we design development undertakings to help maintain ecological processes, such as soil fertility, the assimilation of waste and water, and nutrient cycling? I believe my graduate students here will remember this as an exam question that I've often given them to answer. So if you hear me saying some of the points you produce, don't charge me for plagiarism. A related concern is the preservation of natural resources, both in themselves and, perhaps more importantly, as part of complex and vulnerable systems of biodiversity. Ecological materials need to be conserved because of their intrinsic value. There are also other approaches to answering the question, what is to be sustained? Some have advocated that the natural stock of materials or critical natural capital must be prioritized over the generation of wealth, which is contingent on it. According to this school of thought, human-made capital cannot be an effective replacement for natural capital. Hence, if the aim is sustainable yield of renewable resources, then sustainable development means the management of these resources in the interest of the natural capital stock. Several concerns arise which are both political and distributive. The first is who owns and controls natural resources. Who manages the environment? At what point does the conservation of genetic materials unduly obstruct the continuous flow of wealth? By what doctrines are the political and social institutions governing the use of resources organized? What are the systems of tenure that dictate the ownership and use of the natural resources? And what institutions will be handed over together with the environment to upcoming generations? We are moving away from questions of distributive politics and political economy. A concern with sustainable development unavoidably raises such issues more urgently than ever. To answer the question differently, some researchers have also argued that it is the current or later levels of production and consumption that should be sustained. The suggestion is that global population growth will put increased demands on the environment, and so the definition of sustainable development should consider this point. For those in favor of the sustainable development of goods and services that are obtained from the market and firms, the basis of consumption should be broadened. In other words, we should look for alternative goods and services to consume. On the other hand, it can be argued that the production of many of the goods and services presently is unsustainable, and that we must downsize or alter our current patterns of consumption. As somebody loosely said, we will eat once a day to sustain the environment. Chairman, what can geography research and education do for sustainable development? And here, I want to highlight the power of geography. Given the increasing widespread and overwhelming influence that human activities have had on the environment, it is not surprising that many geographers are in favor of agreeing that the world has entered a new environmental era, which is called the Anthropocene, and that humans have effectively have already created a cultural landscape. And this strongly agrees with Plato's view that the world is in a state of degeneration from a state of perfection. What has increasingly come to be accepted as climate change presently is only actually a single demonstration of the mushrooming impacts of increased human activities and patterns of natural resource use that now stretch the environment to the point of and beyond its harmless bounds. Consequently, most geography researchers agree and support that there is an urgent need for humans to act in ways to limit the potentially catastrophic impacts of future environmental change. Let us remind ourselves of the vulnerability of ecological systems to the vagaries of human activities. There have been several environmental disasters within the last 2 decades, not least the large-scale flooding that ravaged several cities, the numerous evidence of wildfires and land degradation in rural areas. There are uncountable ramifications of such events. For example, studies suggest that faster rates of vulnerabilities of poor households due to exposure, susceptibility, and resilience. Other implications of the problem are severe human health effects of increased environmental pollution, especially in urban areas, and of plastic waste and water supply shortages. The absence of any clear vision on the part of political elites regarding the broader manifestations of human activities of the environment is even more frightening and suggests a dire need for education at all levels, including the general public, if sustainable development is to be attained. However, much cynicism and unawareness around environmental issues exist, and geography researchers and educators confront a huge task in trying to change such mindsets. What then is the role of geography? Geography spans the physical and social sciences and humanities. In other words, geography study everything. When I was a student, I attended an international conference and I saw a sub-team, Geography of Public Accounting. Then I asked myself, what is this? What do you want us to study now? So geography studies everything from physical science, social science, and the humanities. As such, geography integrates the study of both natural and social realms and their interconnection with a focus on space, places, regions, and scale, while addressing both short-term and long-term processes and their consequential patterns. Therefore, geography has combined advantage over most, if not all, of the other sciences, and it's critical to a more general appreciation of the processes, patterns, and trajectories that characterize the disrupted ecological system. In several ways, geography has been described as the science for sustainability. Sustainability education itself has been evolving over the period and has already been widely applied. However, a geographical approach to sustainability education is enhanced through its clear spatial focus, in which the concepts of place, space, and scale allows for contrast, similarities, and differences within and between areas that offer an education that engages more easily with learners' everyday living experiences. Geography education comprises specific aspects that are either not available in the other sciences or are peripheral to those disciplines. Geographic thought is certainly powerful thinking and is capable of alerting citizens to act responsibly through information that leads them to become more positively engaged with the environment. This is what Alderson described as geoliteracy, that in turn developed into geo-capabilities. Geography researchers and educators are confronted with discovering or rediscovering disseminating the significance of the diverse and complex relationships between nature and humanity, and acknowledge that a more central and useful understanding of landscapes, that is, and how their varied components respond to, for example, global environmental change, requires explanations that are grounded in both the natural and the human realms. Rethinking the integration of physical and human geography, there are 7 major areas that provide intellectually stimulating and theoretically useful research and educational opportunities. These include natural hazards, global environmental change, earth system science, human impact, the Anthropocene, environmental history, and the study and appreciation of landscapes. Certainly, sustainable development itself emerged from realization of the sheer magnitude of human activities on the environment. Additionally, the involvement of geographers in hazard and disaster risk research and geographic information systems and remote sensing implies that geographers have already had enormous intellectual impact on a range of issues related to the concept of sustainable development. Undeniably, more than any other science, geography provides prospects to work in the conceptual spaces between the natural and social sciences. It is in such spaces that powerful knowledge can really materialize. The integration of physical and human geography is at the center of what geography research and education can and really must do towards achieving sustainable development. But there should be more to geography research and education for sustainability than just integrating additional social science into the geosciences. Sustainability education is currently a part of the geography course in many universities across both the developed and developing world. And I must say, in Ghana, sustainable development has been integrated into a number of geography programs. We currently have one too in this university. The prospects of geography research and education to cultivate sustainability thinking through integrating of disciplines and concepts is being explored in many countries. Again, there are exceptional opportunities in the integration of geospatial science and qualitative geography. In particular, what has become known as participatory GIS, to substantially enrich research and education for sustainability. It is important at this juncture to pose the question as to what kind of geography research and education is desirable for sustainable development. Chairman, in trying to answer this question, it is crucial to underscore the importance of tackling problems concerned with the human-environment interactions at a scale that is pertinent to individual or community action. That is, countering ground narratives with local encounters. As I conclude this address, I would like to say that geography's power in contributing to sustainability research and education is in its integrally interdisciplinary nature. However, it must be emphasized that geography is a discipline in its own right. So the Harvard managers got it wrong in 1945 by closing down geography departments. Geography research and education for sustainable development may come in many different forms, and different topics and methodologies may be appropriate to different international, national, and local contexts. There is a wide range of strategies to promoting sustainable development, many of which are probably yet to be fully explored. What can be researched or taught and how this should be done is influenced not only by the experience of the researcher or the teacher or the educational level of the learner from preschool to tertiary, but also by cultural and political values that are different within and between nations and societies. Despite the particular research or teaching approach adopted, it is fair to say that geography research and education is basic to sustainability thinking in advancing the knowledge, skills, attitudes, and practices that enable individuals and societies to make more positive decisions for the environment. I take this opportunity to recommend education, including the general public, that provides hopeful alternatives rather than options that are laden with gloom. This can be attained through active and participatory learning and community-based approaches. Renegotiating and co-designing the school curriculum, in particular, with the school management or management of the educational system is also very important. That we look at geography from that traditional perspective. When I was doing my national service after my first degree, I met a prison officer in Navrongo. When I said I'm a geographer, he said, you know all the capital towns in the world. So that is the view of the geography that people know, and that must change. Geography education for sustainability is obviously necessary for the youth and subsequent generations who will have to live with the consequences of decisions and actions taken by the current generation. We all also need to admonish our current generation of political elites that action is urgent if we are to avoid dangerous environmental catalysm. Chairman, thank you very much for the opportunity to give you this address. I appreciate all of you for coming to listen to me. Thank you very much.
Please, let's keep going. Prof. Chair, with your permission, once this is the main inaugural lecture, can we, with a standing ovation and round of applause, give it to Prof. Thank you, thank you. Very well. Please take your seats. Please take your seats. Prof. Chair, platform party, kindly resume your seats. Please, let's clap for them as they come up. Thank you. Please take your seat. Prof. Chair. Prof. Osumanu, is this part of geography? Geography is about everything, so it's a disaster, isn't it? Okay. Prof. Chair, I will not attempt to summarize this conceptual trinity because I'm not sure I have what it takes to do it, so I'll defer it to you. And all I can say is that thank you, Prof. Osumanu, for giving us that insightful inaugural lecture on human-environment relations and their relationships with poverty and inequality. That was very well delivered. So, ladies and gentlemen, I can declare that our maiden inaugural lecture on geography, environment, and sustainable development, exploring a disciplinary and conceptual Trinity for human well-being, has been well delivered. So let's clap for him again. Next on our program is congratulations. It is an academic tradition everywhere that when a new professor delivers an inaugural lecture, he is inducted into the College of Professors. And so we will take the induction and the robing ceremony. So I will respectfully invite our Vice Chancellor and Prof. Teacher, who has also delivered his inaugural lecture, to do the robing of Prof. Kanton and formally induct him into the College of Professors of SDD Jobis.
Thank you very much, MC. At this point, it is very essential for the university to establish this new tradition of inducting its professors into the College of Professors, so that with time we will have a huge college, because there are many who have lined up and are looking forward for this opportunity, and we want to know what really is in the level of College of Professors. There must be something exciting about it. That is why the professor, from his or her early career, manages, they burn the midnight oil with a view to writing enough and with quality, so that they can be made a professor. Just like in the days of old, when the new civil servant entered the civil service, his or her aim was to become either the chief director, and in those days we call them a principal secretary. In other jurisdictions, they are called permanent secretaries. So now, I'll call upon Professor Icha to help me do the robing. But before then, I'll have to ask the lecturer to come and swear a certain oath and make us a promise that his professorship will be useful until the day he passes away from this earth. It's a huge task, but he will undertake that for us. Is there another microphone? Where is the second microphone? Okay, so Professor Issaka Kanton Osumanu will repeat after me. I,
Professor Issaka Kanton Osumanu,
do hereby promise at all times to submit myself and to maintain the highest standard of scholarship and academic rigor.
Submit myself and maintain the highest standard of scholarship and academic rigor.
Continuously and continually test existing knowledge and create new knowledge.
Continuously and continually test existing knowledge and create new knowledge.
Work assiduously with my peers. And researchers. And promote the discipline of geography. And environmental management. In education in Ghana and abroad. Mentor and develop younger faculty. And students, notably graduate students. To become outstanding persons. Critical thinkers. Problem solvers. In order to make the country and the world a better place. And project a positive image of the S.D. Dombo University of Business and Integrated Development Studies.
Project a positive image of the S.D. Dombo University of Business and Integrated Development Studies.
Through my conduct. Utterance. And otherwise. If I fail. To adhere to this. My charge. And if I bring my professorship into disrepute. I am liable to suffer the consequences. Including but not limited to being stripped of my professorship. So help me God. He will be signing a copy and we'll keep it on the file to make sure that he lives to the highest standard as a professor. Thank you very much, Professor Osumanu. At this point, we'll do a robing of the professor and usher him into the College of Professors. So, with the help of Professor Dicha, I will perform this function.
Say you can never be the one. God say, make I tell you, say now you can choose in 1 month, in 1 week. You will sing a new song in 2 days. Lesser than you will hear. Congratulations, you're in the glory of God. Congratulations, He has done it for you, and you will come back with a new song to sing. God is good. Yes, you will come again with a new song of praise. God is good. Oh, congratulations. Congratulations.
Professor VC. That is beautiful. Thank you, thank you. Prof. Osumanu, please, you cannot sit down. We need to congratulate you. So kindly come to my right and we begin the congratulations. So I would call on our Pro-Vice Chancellor, our Registrar, Mr. Joba Santi, his colleague Registrar from the UDS, Mr. Nuruddin, to congratulate the newest professor in the College of Professors.
In 1 week, you will sing a new song. In 2 days, a lesson that you will hear. Congratulations, you're in the glory of God. Congratulations, He has done it for you, and you will come back with a
Thank
new
you.
song to sing.
Director of Finance, take your turn.
Yes, you will come again with a new song of praise. God is good. Oh, congratulations.
Okay, Director of Finance, please congratulate our new professor for us. Congratulations. Thank you, Director of Finance. Thank you. Thank you. I'm sure there are others who are eyeing the college. So they will be the next to be invited. So the aspirants sitting behind, can we have the full professors yearning to join the college? Congratulate Prof. Prof. Ebra, Prof. Sari, please. Prof. Teacher has done it already. Oh.
Yes, you will come again with a new song of praise. God is good. Oh, congratulations. Congratulations.
Thank you, aspirants. I'm waiting to announce the new date for the next inaugural lecture, so let me have that after this. We will call on deans and directors present. Please come up and congratulate Prof. Osumanu, deans and directors. I can see Prof. Suleimana there. Please, deans, directors. Okay. Come towards my right and exit on my left. Please come up towards my right, exit on my left.
Congratulations, say what the Lord has done for you. Congratulations, God is good. Them say that I can never be all that I see. I've seen that God is greater than that. Who can battle with the Lord? Nobody. Who can change His mind around me? For many years, in many ways, I have seen His faithfulness ever and ever. Yeah. Congratulations, I have seen the glory of God.
Thank you. The family is the pillar of everything, so I will now invite his family, led by Madame Josephine and the kids, to come up and congratulate Prof. Let's give them a round of applause. Such a beautiful family.
Time for jubilation. Congratulations. No more tribulation. I bring you good news where you cannot refuse. Well, Lord, I told you with Christ that you can never lose. Well, God, oh man, I beg you, give me your attention.
Thank you, family. Madame Josephine, if I had the power, I'll confer on you, Professor Madame Josephine. You played a part in this. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Can we have all other associate professors in the room congratulate Prof? associate professors, please line up. Let's do this quickly. Prof Yendao, Prof Bonye, I can see you. All other associate professors in the room, kindly congratulate Prof Osumanu.
Congratulations, time for jubilation. Congratulations, no more tribulation. I bring you good news where you cannot refuse. Oh Lord, I told you with Christ that you can never lose. Oh God, oh man, I beg you give me your attention. Very, very soon you will share your testimony. One by one you will tell your testimony. Bigger than money, we say sweeter than honey.
Congratulations, you're sitting on the glory of God.
Next will be the turn of his department, the Department of Geography. Staff of the Department of Geography, please prepare to come and welcome him. Department of Geography. Department of Geography.
Congratulations.
Alongside it.
I didn't know the Department of Geography has several members. Today I'm seeing them. Thank you for coming. Next will be his faculty, the Faculty of Social Sciences and Arts, to be led by the Vice Dean. Staff, Faculty of Social Sciences and Arts. All other staff of the Faculty of Social Sciences and Arts, led by the Vice Dean.
Them say that I can never be all that I see. I've seen that God is greater than that. Who can battle with the Lord? Nobody. Who can change his mind about me? Through many years, in many ways, I have seen his faithfulness ever and ever. Yeah.
Everything that I have now, you get to me, Baba. Lord, I say for your love, I'm grateful. Yes, you love me plenty, you came to die for me. Jehovah Rapha, Jehovah Nissi, I am that I am. Ooh, oh, I searched around, there's no one else like you. Lion of Judah, you're the man in battle.
God has given me victory.
He has given me victory.
He has given me victory.
God has given me victory.
God has given me victory.
He has given me victory.
He has given me victory.
Hallelujah. He has taken away my sorrows and now I'm free. I got me hallelujah, bro. I got my hallelujah, power. Because of Jesus, every day now shakara they do. Double heavenly blessing now him I receive.
Okay, thank you, IMS. God has indeed given Prof victory, and we are grateful to God for that. We would want to make some few recognitions and acknowledgements. And first on our list, we would want to acknowledge Professor Osumanu's family for being here present. So the wife, Madame Josephine Weve Nelson Kanton, you are most welcome. The daughter and the children, the other sons, we have Florine Osman Kanton, Kizia Mariam Kanton, Favor Mobina Kanton, and Joyce Kanton. We acknowledge your presence and we thank you for coming. Please put your hands together for them. You know, a mother never leaves her baby, no matter how grown up he or she is. So we are privileged to have in our midst the Registrar of UDS, Mr. Nuruddin, to join us for this occasion. Registrar, you are most welcome. We thank you for coming. We also would want to, in a special way, acknowledge Chief Dr. Cliff Masole, a very good pal of Prof. Kanton today. Thank you so much for being a strong pillar behind him. SDDU base is grateful. I would now want Prof. Kanton himself to make a few acknowledgements. I'm sure he stood on a lot of shoulders of a lot of giants to be here today. So, Prof, kindly take the stage again and acknowledge some people.
Thank you very much for the opportunity once again. And the journey has been too long, but all that is well, as they say, ends on a very good note. Along the way on this journey, so many people have given me considerable support that I cannot even begin to mention them. I will first want to thank the Almighty God for the wisdom He bestowed on me to be able to decipher what is good from what is bad and what I can do from that which I cannot do. My parents, unfortunately, my father left us December last year, so obviously he should be absent. My mother too cannot be here because of old age and other related issues. So she is far away in Konongo. She couldn't also make it, but they are being a pillar behind me. They taught me the value of hard work, determination, and perseverance. And they deserve gratifications for giving me a solid formative experience that made me who I am today. Professor E. Ofori-Sapon of the Department of Geography and Resource Development, University of Ghana, who was my mentor at the undergraduate level, deserves mention for his words of encouragement that motivated me to pursue graduate studies and to seek a career in academia. Equally, Professor R.B. Benning and Professor Jacob Sansori, also of the Department of Geography and Resource Development, University of Ghana, deserves thanks for their guidance and direction, which enabled me to complete my graduate studies in record time, and also made me to see academic publishing as part of my life. At the University for Development Studies and Simon Diedon Dombo University of Business and Integrated Development Studies, my close working relationship with Professor Owusu Sechere, Dr. Enoch Kosel, and Mr. Joseph Akumbangri bore sufficient fruit in several publications. And I am grateful for the support of Professor Isaac Ajimai, who was head of Department of Environment and Resource Studies when I began my career at UDS as a senior research assistant. Now, Dr. Cliff Masole, also known as Nagbalo II, deserves special commendation for being a godfather in my life. Professor Emmanuel Delibile and Mr. Godwin Achana have all been dependable colleagues over several years of my career, and I thank them all for that. I have also encountered several other people along the way who have been very helpful and encouraging. Dr. M.K. Nkrumah and Mr. J.S. McKay, who are now retired. Mr. Farouk Al-Brema and Mr. Lukman Abdulrahim of People's Dialogue Ghana, an NGO that I worked with as a consultant some time ago. Dr. John Bosco Sumani, Dr. Raymond Albeye, Dr. Joseph Wolifan, and several others that I cannot mention in this university have all been special and they need to be acknowledged. But above all, I dedicate this day to my wife, Josephina, and the children, Florine, Kezia, and Favor, for standing behind me at all times. The teasing and sometimes the fighting, for going to work even on weekends, inspired me, and I always look forward to those happy moments we shared together whenever there was a change in my status. Today is indeed dedicated to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prof. Osumanu. In addition, I would just also want to say thank you to our Vice Chancellor and his management for being part of today's occasion. So Vice Chancellor, Registrar, Pro-Vice Chancellor, Director of Finance, aspiring professors to the college, thank you for joining us today. We are happy. But above all, there are a group of people that made this possible. And so I would want to say thumbs up to Prof. Dasa and his team, the organizing committee, for this great job. Please stand up and we would acknowledge you. Organizing committee, let's see you. You did a great job. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay. Everything that has a beginning optimally will come to an end. So, I will now respectfully invite the Vice Chancellor to give us his closing remarks.
Thank you. Yes, all too soon, the program has come to an end, but we would like to thank the lecturer, Professor Issaka Kanton, who has done us this great service of making himself ready and preparing a way for the SD Dombo University to tell the world that we have come of age. So thank you, Professor Kanton. I cannot summarize his lecture. Yes, that would take us too long to accomplish that. So I will just ask that if anyone has any questions, they can see him later in chambers for him to explain some of the concepts and give them direction. So, because that is a tradition, when we do inaugural lectures, we don't have question time. So all your interest must be channeled to the lecturer later on. I would like to say a big thank you to Professor Ticha for helping me do this job in honoring Professor Kanton Osumanu. And thank you all for coming and for all the hard work you put in supporting him at his faculty, and the registrar who has seen to it that things are organized properly within every school to make sure that they have the basic logistics to function. Prof has also supported all the schools, including Professor Osmanu's, in processing their documentation for accreditation. That must be acknowledged. You know that you can't have a school without any programs. The programs must be prepared and must be vetted properly and accredited. So we thank all of you, including all the lecturers and assistant lecturers, for supporting the work of the university. So on the basis of that, I hand over to the MC to close us.
Thank you, Prof, for sharing this to an end. I'm told we were streaming online on YouTube and Facebook, so we want to acknowledge all those who joined us virtually. Thank you for making time to be with us. We are grateful for your time. We'll take a few announcements before the closing prayer. For the order of refreshments, after the recession, we would stay behind in the B side of this hall for the refreshments. The order of recession, we will take the closing prayer, our university anthem, and then we will all remain standing for the Vice Chancellor and the platform party to recess outside before the rest of us can depart. So thank you, everybody. Thank you once again for being part of this historic event. We look forward to having you for the next inaugural lecture, which I am sure shall be soon. And I wish all of you a very good evening. I will now respectfully invite Mr. Anwar Sadat to give us the closing prayer. Okay, Mr. Muin Abdullahi, take up the role. Let's clap for him as he closes us.
Let's be in the mood of prayer. In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful. God, we thank you for guiding us through this program. We thank you for the life of our lecturer, for all the processes he has gone through till today, and you have blessed him to be able to deliver this lecture successful. Lord, we pray that you continue to guide him, to guide other faculty members coming up, so that in the end, we'll all be successful. God, we put the hands of the management of this university into your hands. So far, the direction has been good. We pray that you continue to direct us, so that this university will be internationally acclaimed. We pray that you guide everybody who has come here safely back into their homes. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Ihdina siratal mustaqim. Siratal ladzina an'amta alayhim. Ghayril maghdubi alayhim waladdallin. Amen.
Thank you, Mr. Muin, for doing this at a very short notice. Registrar will not forgive me if I don't do this. We need a historic picture of the inaugural lecturer and management. So can we just take this before the national anthem? The UBIS anthem. So university management and the inaugural lecture, let's have a picture. Joshua and his team, please do this well for us. We want it to be very well taken. So,
PraiseWorldRadio.com.
Yeah, He has given me victory. Oh, my God has given me victory. He has given me victory. Oh, all the days of my life I praise.